Hello. I just thought it would be fun to talk about what to do in life. Obviously, different people have different ideas, and I wanted to say my idea because maybe some people will like it, and then we can work together on these things. If you have figured out what to do in life, amazing. Probably this video won't be helpful to you, but if not, I really want to speak more about what is meaningful to do and what's worth doing rather than other ways to approach this question. So, I guess I'm mostly talking to people who have just finished school, university, or just have been working on the industry or academia for a few years and are thinking, what's next? What should I do? And they're not sure. So yeah, I hope you find these ideas helpful to reach this decision. So a bit of a background on this question is that there is this underlying idea in Western societies that really what you should pursue is things that give you wealth and status and achievement. And I don't want to say that this is what you shouldn't do. I think these are great things to pursue, but I want to tune it a bit and say that what you really want to do is to aspire to make things that increase the well-being of all, and through that you can achieve achievement and status and wealth, but not to have these things as goals in themselves. The goal in themselves should be to help everybody. So what does this really mean, right? How yeah, what does it mean to aspire to make things that increase the well-being of all? One fundamental thing it means is that this is based on the value of compassion. So we know what it means to suffer because we have suffered in the past, and we don't want anybody else to suffer. So we're willing to spend a lot of time and a lot of effort thinking and making things so that suffering goes down. A second important thing of what I said is that we aspire in creation. This means that we are not interested in destroying things that we think are not good. We're interested in making things that are good. And the other thing it goes against is we're not interested in analyzing why a thing is not good and then just talking about it. We're interested in making the thing that is helpful. Thirdly, it means that we want to help all people and all beings in general. And this means that maybe obviously we won't be able to help all, and obviously it would be much easier to help the people who are closer to us. But what this means is that if it's free or if it's easy to help others as well, then we'll do it. So we're not helping ourselves or our families or our neighborhood if this means that the other neighborhoods or the other people are results in more suffering for them. So now the question is how to do this. How can one increase the well-being of all? Um, on the one hand, there are many approaches. On the second hand, it's extremely hard to do this, and I think this is quite interesting because what I really want to say is that I think it's worth focusing on these extremely hard problems that the world, especially the Western world, is facing today, and these problems appear completely overwhelming, and I think they are today. But my bet is that there will not be in 20 and 30 years, and they will not be because we will build things that will help to solve them in 20 or 30 years. Not that they will be magically solved or the solution will come from somewhere else. It will come if we build it in the next 20 years. And it will take so long because of the difficulty of these problems. So, what problems am I referring to? Um, I think one we could say in one sentence is the increasing political instability of Western societies, which includes the collapse of established institutions which have been have been established basically after the Second World War, and now they are collapsing if they're not already totally collapsed. This causes other things, for example, an increase in economic inequality for Western societies and for richer countries like the US or the UK, France, other big European countries, or even outside Europe. So that's one side of the problem, of or like one of the hard problems, and another one which obviously is connected but also separate is the climate and energy. Climate and energy are quite connected, and now AI is also connected to that. These are huge problems that require extreme coordination on a global level to solve, and they might be obvious in a way that we can just stop doing this thing, and then the world will stop warming. But it's also impossible to do. And then another problem I think is quite significant is general mental health and how we live in the world. I mean, obviously there is social media, there is depression, there is fewer births. There are all these problems which you wouldn't expect in a healthy society. In a healthy society, people want to live more, they want to have more babies. There is optimism, there is hope, there is cool vibes. Right now, the vibes are not cool; they're not nice. So I would say these are some of the problems, and of course, other problems like education, obviously, what happens in the next pandemic, general biodiversity collapse, loss is connected to climate and energy as well. So we also have other problems which obviously fall between those. So okay, we have these problems. Now let's solve them. But which one to solve, or rather, how to choose which one to work on? Obviously, you can't work on all of them at the same time. And I would say the answer is that based on your background, you're already working on a topic that's connected to these things. So, if you studied psychology, then maybe, yeah, global mental health is a good problem. Or if you studied something tech related, maybe energy or maybe AI. Or if you've been working, I don't know, some kind of non-profit or NGO, then maybe policy is an interesting thing, or economic inequality, or economy in general. So I think that's one way to choose. And the second way is obviously something that it's clearly extremely interesting to you, and you think that it's extremely important. The most important thing I can say about this is that it really doesn't matter what you choose, as much as you choose something. It would be worse if you just say all of these problems are very important, it's completely overwhelming to do any of them, so I'll just do nothing. I think this is what we don't want to have, and this is what I would prefer that we avoid. So, okay, let's say you choose one of those problems, how to work on this problem? First, you have to be inside it. So, you have to be in the industry that's working on this. So if I don't know, if you think that climate is an important problem, obviously there is a lot of non-profit / activist work, but there is also energy. And if we solve energy, then the climate problem will be more tractable. So maybe you want to go work in energy. And then, just doesn't matter to have an important job at first. Obviously, it's impossible to have an important job at first. So first, just be in the industry. Learn about these things. Talk about these things with the people who work on those things, and really start understanding the whole system. How does it work? How do you do things there? How does the industry progress? What happens with the legal part? What happens with how do they influence policy? All of those things, we need all this knowledge in order to be powerful and bring change. So understand how things work, I would say is the first thing. And then as you navigate this thing, then a few things happen, obviously, right? Obviously, you learn how it works. So this can cause a lot of frustration because it's like, how can I do something that's actually meaningful if we can't do the basics? I think that's one of the keys in that this frustration um, should work as motivation to improve the whole system and should be expected. Obviously, things will not work. Obviously, there will be a lot of frustration, but I think our job should be to facilitate this process and figure out how to improve it. Once you start understanding this process, then you have the motivation, you have the approach. You're like, okay, I can see some angles of how we could do good things. Then we start building new institutions, we start building new companies, we start making big things that are ambitious and helpful. And for that, what we really need is fearlessness. We need to conquer our fears and think that we can really do it. We can really go for it, and go wild. Like think, go for utopia. Like what does utopia look like in this domain of life? How can we achieve the most amazing thing? Really the most craziest thing that you can think of. Um, so build it in your mind without fear. And if you're afraid, go into a safe place, literally and in your mind, and think there and see what would be the most amazing thing that we can do. And then, make a plan, make a plan just for fun, and then see what we mean to actually follow it. There's nothing magic, it's all systems, and if you just understand the elements of the system and the forces that bring the change, then that's it. We can change this. So yeah, this is what I think you should do. If you're 20 or 30 years old, then your career is another 40 years or something. This is your project. This is your life's work. Do something that is actually meaningful for you and for the world, and actually builds a better place for the future. Obviously, we're doing something extremely challenging, which is extremely unlikely to succeed, but it doesn't matter. Like this is meaningful to do. This is what's the only what else is there to do if we don't solve these things, right? So if we all go for that, then obviously few will succeed, and then if even if you succeed, that means we all succeed because the world becomes indeed a better place. History always moves. Good things come, bad things come, and then people are like, okay, we should probably be a bit more mature and do some good things, and then they get too comfortable, and bad things come again. So now is the bad things, and there will be more bad things, but then eventually we can bring the good things. Okay, goodbye.